Behind the Shades.
I'm a coach, I'm a success coach, and I really help people rise up and see who they are and step into their higher self, their next level version, so that they can create the success they want on autopilot. And I really want to focus on this word autopilot because a lot of times we are told that you have to work really, really hard. You have to work 16 hours a day. You have to do so many courses. You have to get another degree. You have to change your entire self. You have to be somebody else, or all these things. And that even makes success very scary, whatever that success is for us, right? Whatever that goal, that desire we have. And we start to play small, right? So when I got into this material, when I literally stumbled onto this, my marriage was falling apart. I was having lots and lots of financial issues, issues with my career. I was having depression. I had kids, but I wasn't able to manage them. I was at the verge of committing suicide and I was going for therapies. So that's where I was. So what I discovered was that I was doing therapies and they were almost like a band-aids to my wound. But when I discovered this material, I thought, wow, this is it. This is what I've been looking for. And whenever I share it with other people, I get the same response. So it's like, when you open your heart and you connect it with other people and you really talk to the core of who they are, their true being, and it's like that connection. It's so beautiful. So what it's all about is that I was thinking that there is a problem with me. I was thinking that everything in my life is going wrong. My finances is going wrong. We are struggling, despite the fact that me and my husband had decent jobs. At the end of every month, we used to run out of money. How? It doesn't even make sense. And then with mental health issues and all those things. But what I realized was that all these things are the reason of what kind of self image I hold, what kind of self concept I hold about myself. And when I really dug deeper into it and started working through it, everything changed in my life. My relationship, which was literally at the verge of breaking down, it became so good. I became a really good mom, like who has got all put together. Although it's really hard with kids, but I felt so confident. I felt like I'm a role model for them. I can feel proud. I was relaxed. I was calm, and I got three promotions up in my job directly to the senior manager in the top three companies in London. And I thought, oh my goodness, what just changed? The only thing changed was my self image. So the beauty is that you don't change anything about you. That is one thing I want to keep saying. Don't change anything about you. Just change the way you see yourself. How effortless is that? You're not going and getting another degree. You're not going and, going out like changing so many things, or just change the way you see yourself. You already are what you're trying to be. You already have what you're trying to get. You just need to change the way you see yourself, step into that version and just do it. Do it on autopilot. So one of the interesting things, what I got obsessed with, and I saw there's a big gap in the market, in people, in professionals, that we are actually trying for these big goals, trying to achieve things. But because our self concept get in the way, despite us working really, really hard, we cannot feel like we are taking the action, we are doing the right things, we are taking those steps. Because it is like, a thermostat in us, like a thermostat which controls the heating system of our house, right? That when you turn the thermostat, and for example, if you set a certain temperature, and if the door opens, cold air comes in, what's going to happen? The thermostat will tell the heating system that turn it on and bring the temperature where it was. So that's what our self concept does. As soon as we try to change something, we try to take action, it automatically detects the variation that, oh, this person is changing his or her results. Okay, it gives a message to our nervous system that, okay, bring the temperature or bring the behavior where it was. And all of a sudden, we start doing the same thing we were doing, and our results stay the same. So sometimes, when we watch a video on YouTube which really inspires us, or attend a seminar or a course, and we are really motivated, I'm going to change my life, I'm going to do this. And when we start to do that, what happens? Our self concept says, oh, this person is doing something else. That's not they're set at, and it changes everything. And that is so automatic and autopilot that we don't even realize. We don't even realize that we are self sabotaging. We don't even realize that we are getting in our own way. And we think, I'm working so hard and it's not happening. So imagine when you are working really, really hard, when you're doing everything, and somebody comes and tells you, you know what, it's just because you don't think you can do it, or deep down you don't see yourself like that. And you might think, are you stupid? Like, I'm killing myself to achieve this. I'm doing so much. How can you say that? But really, that is the deal. And this is the biggest breakthrough in psychology, in neuroscience in this century. That when humans changed the way they saw themselves, it was lots and lots of studies were done on students, on professionals, on salespeople. When they changed the way they saw themselves, when they changed those ideas about them, the results changed. So if your child is not getting is getting the bad grade, you don't like it, it's not because they're dumb. It's not because they don't know how to do it. It's just because they think deep down that they cannot do it. And what if
So
we
let me
just change
ask
the
you.
belief?
So let me ask you a question because it reminds me of that song where you can see clearly now the rain is gone. It's like something like that, right? Where
Yeah,
you no longer see yourself as a loser, as
yeah,
someone that can't succeed, as someone that isn't good enough. And I think this concept can be applied to friendships, relationships,
and
school, work, neighbors. And we are just trying to understand why. And I'm glad that you highlighted the point where it's kind of like looking yourself in the mirror and saying, what is it that you see? Do you
yeah,
see someone that is overweight? Do you see someone that is bald? Do you see someone that is unattractive? Do you see someone that is never going to be anything in life? But that may be how you see yourself, but the people around you may see yourself as something totally different, which is important because they can build you up. So when you
yeah.
highlighted these things, Anum, and you're sharing some of the things that you went through, from it impacting your marriage, you feeling suicide, you had depression, your job. Take us through that. How did you see yourself, and how different was it then versus now?
So let me tell you something really funny, like which is like a dilemma, right? A lot of times we don't even know this is the way we see ourselves. So it is very subconscious. So if you would have asked me at that time, I would have said, I'm fine, I have no problems, I am 100% okay. But that is all deep down subconsciously. And that perception, that concept was built when we were really small, like when we were newborns, to when we were 7 years old or 10 years old. Maximum by that age, that concept was built. So it's all very subconscious. A lot of times we say, oh, I think I'm a great person. But do you really think you are a great person? So even for me at that time, I thought, yeah, I'm a good student. I've been a good student. I'm good at my job. I can do things. But the problem is that we don't even know that we think we are not good enough. We don't, and a lot of people ask me, a lot of my clients ask me that, how do I figure out how I see myself? I say, just see your results. Because it is never the case that you are not good. Because let me explain to you this. There is only one sun in this world, right? There is only one sun. Similarly, there's only one mind, and we all share that mind. We are the manifestation of that mind. So we all have the same amount of information. We all have the same amount of intelligence. We all are same. We all are a manifestation of a big universal intelligence. Now, how are we all so different? Because some people think they're really good and the results show that. And some people think, oh, I'm a failure, and the results show that. So the key determinator at the end of the day is how we see ourselves. But that was built when we were really little. So imagine, like, we went to school and we got red slashes in our report card. And he thought, oh, I'm dumb. I'm not good at maths. Who told you you're not good at maths? You are good at everything. You just start believing that, right? You just start believing because you might have seen red slashes in your math report card. And a lot of times in the research, even the students were working really hard to improve that result. But because the self concept was at the wrong place, they were not able to, because our mind is is always loyal to the concept we hold. So we can never change that. It's always it is working as hard to give us the bad result as working as hard to give us the good result. It's like, what data are you putting in the mind? You're gonna get that. It's no different if you put a good data or bad data. It's like a computer. If you write a certain code, you're always gonna get this certain output. Then you can't complain, oh, why did I get it? Because the code, you give this input.
So
So
are there steps that we can possibly take to combat that?
yeah, it is super easy. That is the beauty of it. It is super easy. And the key is to understand that because we are told a lot of time, just take action. Take action. Oh, you're procrastinating, you're doing this, just take action. I think I would definitely say, don't take action until you do this. Because if you take action, you're gonna go around in circles. So the key is first to understand, what am I trying to achieve? What is that goal? What is that thing? Being crystal clear. And then understanding, what does that person look like? Okay. What does that version of me looks like who has already done that? So what does that Anam, I'm giving my example, what does that Anam look like who is a director, or who is a millionaire, or who is a, I don't know, whatever it is, right? Whatever you want to achieve, who in relationship, in anything, who is that person look like, right? And then be that person. But starting with visualize yourself like that. Because when you're visualizing, your mind doesn't know if it's real or imagined. Your mind doesn't. So when you're doing that in your mind, you're creating that picture and you see yourself like that. For your mind, it's practically you're doing it. So it's like, there was an experiment done where there were a few students who were actually playing piano in real, and there were some of them who were just imagining that they were playing piano, and both of them got the same skill level after a few months. Because when you're doing something, literally your mind is using those muscles in your body, and your mind thinks it's happening in real. So there's no different. So just practice it in your mind. When you're sitting, just visualize yourself talking like that, visualize yourself speaking like that. For me, I was that kind of person that I rather die than do a Facebook Live. I literally rather die. I was that shy, and I hated coming in front of cameras. And now I love cameras. I would do this all day. What happened? I just changed the way I saw myself. I'm still the same person. I have the same eyes, I have the same nose. Nothing has changed. I've just changed the way I saw myself. So visualize, how does it feel? And when you really tap into that feeling, you will have natural inclination to do that thing.
And I
You
want to
will be,
add that for me, I had to go through the same thing because I wanted to be this person that I had in my mind, but I wanted to make it into reality. So there's like this dreamy version of Terrain. He was 6 feet tall, this good looking guy, very, very successful, right? So you set the bar at a certain level, but then to your point, you want to get as close as possible to the version of yourself that you have created in your mind. And it took a lot of work. I had to change the way I speak. I had to change the way I dress. I had to change the way I interact. I had to ask women, hey, wink, wink, what kind of guy do you like? And then you kind of mold yourself that way, right? Because you want to be flexible in a way to adapt. And I
yeah,
think
yeah,
when you mention childhood, I think so many of us are kind of put in a hole because our parents expect us to be a certain way. And then we have, I think at that point, we reach a certain age where we're thinking, do I become who I want to be, and who I want
yes.
to be is going to make me happy? Or do I become the person that my parents told me that I should be, even though it makes me unhappy? And I think for a lot of people, maybe this is something that people can speak on, maybe yourself as well. I know coming from parents who weren't born in this country, it's school,
Yes.
school, school, be successful, doctor, engineer, lawyer, right? And then you're like, wait a minute, there's a little bit more to life than those three things. But I'd be lying if I didn't go to school for law, because I did take it. But then I realized that, hey, I want something more. I want something else. I want to change the world in my way. And in my way was, like you, getting comfortable in front of a camera, making sure my hair is done, my makeup is good, everything, right? Because
Yes.
you want to be able to present your message in the best way possible. So when you said that you had to learn these things,
Yeah.
I
For
guess
me,
my question is, was it easy, or were there steps that you had to take to ensure that you became the Anum that we see now?
so for me, like what happened was that when I really got into the energy, that feeling of that version, right? I kept like getting attracted to that. So I had this woman in my mind who I actually felt really connected to. And I just kept thinking about her, how she talks, how she walks, how she is. Like she's calm, she's happy, she's not worried, she's not rushing anywhere. She doesn't know what fear is. She is not scared. She just is. Like she operates full on. She knows what she wants and she inspires people, and I started to use those powerful language, and I literally recorded my script. So it's like, when you start an acting profession and you have a script which director gives you and says, okay, here's your script, you have to act it out. I recorded my script and I kept listening to it over and over again, like hundreds of times a day. And I'd be just driving and I'd be listening to it and I'd be feeling happy. So not no pressure, just enjoying it, right? And when I really saw myself stepping into her, I had a big aha moment. One day I was in the kitchen making coffee and I thought, oh my goodness, actually, I feel really free today because I was always her. It's like when you were born, you were her, and then you were told too many crazy stories and what you should be and what you shouldn't be and blah, blah, blah. And then you buy into it and then you become somebody who is trapped. You are like literally in a prison without knowing you're in one, right? And then you say, this is not who I am. I want to be who I really am. And when I stepped into her, I was like, oh my goodness, I feel so good. I am her. I've always been her. I was born her. So today I get to be me. And that feeling of freedom, of joy, because I want to tell you something. If you love a way somebody talks, or if you would like to talk a certain way, that means the fact that you like it means that you are meant to do it. That's why you like it. Like some of the speakers or motivational speakers you hear, you're like, oh my God, I love the way they talk. And some of them you don't. But why do you love a certain way? Because that is something in you and you're seeing a reflection of that in the other person. So whatever you like is already within you. You're just seeing the reflection and that attracts you and says, wow, I love this way. I love the way that person dresses. So all the things you like in other people or you want to embody in you, that's actually you. So when I stepped into her, I thought, oh my goodness, I've always been her. I just learned how to be me again. I
Do you
found me
remember?
again.
Do you remember how the old you was?
No, really, no.
She's like, I don't even recognize that person
I don't.
anymore. That person is gone. But I would say that, or the question I would have for you, if you don't remember that old person, are there times where even today you still struggle a little bit with continuing to be the person that you are now?
So it is, oh my God, I love this question. I love this question. So I I used to think, the old me used to think that how would I deal with difficult situations, right? Because we all think that, oh, successful people don't have problems. That's what we think, but they have same problems like us, right? Wherever we are in our life, we'll always have problems. But when I'm especially in the most difficult situation in my life now, I become more of her. So in every situation, you can go either way. You can either go to your old self, and I almost feel like this is my human side. Sometimes it comes out. Or you can go to your perfection, your spiritual side, which is like your higher self, which doesn't know fear, which doesn't have any limitations, which just is, which just flows naturally. So when now I experience a difficult situation, I just pause. And then in my mind, I almost reinforce that version. And then I just act like her. And once you become bigger than your problem goes away. Once you see What is this problem trying to teach me? What is this problem asking me to be? It's asking me to be bigger than even who I am right now. So, what if our problems become our superpower? What if our problems become a means for us to grow even better? And I was thinking, even today, it's so funny you're asking me this. And I was thinking today that, sometimes to really have deep transformation, you need to open up. And when you're hurt, your heart opens, right? What is the time your heart really opens? When you're hurt, when it really hits you hard. That's when it opens, and that's when you grow more. So, what if instead of looking at the misery and the problem, we think, how beautiful is that? Because it's helping me to be more of myself. It's helping me to feel more powerful. Because if it doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger.
And if you're looking at those who are coming up after us in the next generation, you're absolutely right, because this is something that we can give them so they can learn, because they can look at us and say, I was like this. I've changed so much. I've improved so much. I don't even recognize or remember who that person was. So I
Yeah,
know that you mentioned you have children. Is it just one or is it more than one that you
I've got
have?
four.
You
I've
have,
got
wow,
four.
congratulations. She has four children, everyone. Okay. So you have four probably beautiful, kind children. Um, they see you the way you are now. Maybe some of them are old enough to know how you were before. But what's advice you'd like to give your children or the children of those who are coming up now who can benefit from the experience that you have?
So I always tell it to my children, and I have literally, because for us it took time to unlearn and then learn. But from day one, I've told them this thing, that you can have whatever you want. So if you can dream it, you can have it. Just hold on to it. So I see it in my older daughter now, who is the oldest. I see it in her that if she puts her mind into something, she gets it. No matter if it's a sock, or if it's something huge, or if it's anything in her school, like, she is so determined. Like, she's sometimes I tell her it can't be done, and she tells me no, it can be done, and then she does it. And I'm thinking, oh my god, what are you doing? But it makes me feel so good, because I can see her determination. I can see that passion, that she just accepts that mental vision, that idea, that dream, and he just does it. And it's like, wow, you're learning such good things. And sometimes when and I'm in a rush and I tell her, no, 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 it's not possible. She's like, no, mom, I know it's possible. You told me. Okay, yeah, I told you. So just telling our kids that our thoughts become things. For if I tell you today, our thoughts become things, or anybody who haven't heard this idea, they'll be like, oh, it's so hard to understand. I've never done this before. Or somebody who's new to this, right? But for our children, it's very easy to grasp this, because whatever you tell them, they can be molded in that way. So just tell them, if you can see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. That's it. If you can dream it, you can have it. Just just believe in it. Just hold that vision. If we can teach this one thing to our kids, I think all the problems of this world will go away, because we'll not have to fight, we'll not have to do anything for to achieve our desires. In fact, we'll become the best version of ourselves to really serve this world in the best way.
And we've been preoccupied with everything outside of ourselves where we would neglect what we can do. And if we spent more time focusing, as you mentioned, becoming better for ourselves, within ourselves, and then ultimately, when we've reached our true form, our better form, then we can go out to the world and maybe help those who aren't there yet. So when it comes to self image, self concept, and becoming successful, I know we've gone through all the ways to do it. And from my experience to your experience, and how it can assist you in so many different areas, is there maybe a process that someone will go through, let's say from start to finish, when they're going through something as important as this transformation?
So I think the first process, like, if you ask me in few steps, what does that process look like? I would say the most important thing is take a pen and paper, just a paper and a pen, simple, and write what would you love. If you have everything in this world, money, time, resources, opportunities, what would you love? Just go there. Just allow yourself. Don't think, oh, how it's going to happen. Let me not even write it. I'm not saying what can you have, right? What would you love? There's a difference. What can you means what you think is possible, but I want you to go beyond that, because if we can hold it in our mind, we can have it in our hands, right? We attract whatever we need, but we have to allow ourselves to get there. So that is the first thing. And then, instead of, a lot of people say, okay, so what do I need to do? Take action. I would say, ask yourself, who do I need to be? And the better question is, how do I need to see myself? What kind of self concept I need to hold? What version of me has already done it? That version is already within you, right? You just need to activate it. You have right now activated a version which is your current version. If you want more results, just activate a different version, just by feeling yourself into it, just by visualizing yourself as that version, and that version is going to come on the surface. Okay. And once you become that, then you will do the actions naturally, because that self concept controls us 96 to 98% all day long. So once that idea is there in that self concept, you will naturally do that. Like, nobody asks you to remind you when you need to eat. We just say, oh, I'm hungry, I need to eat. It's natural, right? So we are naturally designed to be successful. We have got inbuilt success mechanism within us, right? Which means that whenever we set a goal for our mind, our subconscious mind and our nervous system crack on autopilot subconsciously to achieve it without even us knowing, without telling us, oh, by the way, you've set the goal, I'm going. And believe it or not, even a drug addict has also got a goal setting system. And as a professional, everybody has a system. The key is, what goals are you setting, and what images you hold in your mind, how you visualize, how you think, those are the images you're putting in. Those is the goal you're setting. So the key is to be clear. What do you want? And then keep visualizing it, allow it. And then naturally, you would start doing the things. Naturally, you would think, oh my God, I would have never done it. How is it that I'm doing now? Like, for me, coming on camera, I absolutely love it now. Why? Because I changed the goal. I was setting the wrong goals. And when I changed the goal, I became a completely different version. And then for that version, I can get up from my sleep and come on the camera, right? So it is about, who are you and how do you see yourself? And when you for work on the self concept, action will come natural. A lot of times we try to focus on the action and we force it. And what happens is we start procrastinating, because our self concept makes sure that we don't outperform it. That is the goal, right? We can never outperform it. So instead of going against our nervous system, our subconscious mind might as well team up with them, because they can naturally get you where you want to be.
So you've taken us from the start to the finish. You told us a little bit about yourself. For you, this is where it gets a little bit more about the incredible woman who has made this amazing transformation and everything. You mentioned some situations that you went through. You mentioned some difficulties that you had. How strong did you have to be to overcome some of the situations, such as the depression, the anxiety, the thoughts you had of maybe not being on this earth anymore? How much did you have to pull yourself out of that to become the person you are now, sharing this wonderful message?
So I would say that, most of my life, in fact, never really, I asked myself, what would I love? Because we are told you have to go to school, you have to get a job, you have to do this. So we never really pause. We are almost like in a rat race. We're just running and running. And we don't ask ourselves, okay, where am I right now? And where do I want to go? Where do you really want to go? Why are you living? What makes you alive? What keeps you out of your bed, every single day? What makes you want to get up? So these questions, because at the end of the day, what we really desire for us is what is meant for us, right? So we have a purpose. Like our heart has a purpose to supply blood all over our body, Our lungs has a purpose to supply oxygen. What is our purpose, right? We have to see what lights us up. And once you find your desire, once you start, not even just in your career, but how you want your life to look like. And when we start to like suppress ourselves, suppress our being, suppress our desire, that's when all these things, depression, anxiety comes up. Because what we are doing is we're suppressing a flow. So imagine if there's a pipe with a really nice flow of water and you start to pressure it, what's going to happen? It's going to burst. That's what we're doing with ourselves. We are suppressing our being. We are suppressing unimaginable power within us. So a research was done that what is the worth, which is the physical worth of a human being, not even the spiritual or emotional, just the physical. And our body has got $84 billion worth of electricity. And with one single human being, you can literally run a country like America for a week. With once, so we are worth 84 billion just physically. I'm not even talking about mind. I'm not even talking about our powers or mental, our like matter things, right? Which are not physical. Just the physically, we're so powerful. But when you try to suppress that power, what happens? You become anxious. You become worried. So when I really allowed myself and ask myself this question, what would I love, without judging, without saying, oh, it's not possible, don't go there, without just allowed myself, I felt like I'm expressing now. I'm becoming that version. I started a journey for me. So I did a passion test. It's a number one tool used worldwide to help people discover their passion. And I did that. That test really helped me to understand how I want my ideal life to look like in all areas, my relationship, my habits, my hobbies, my career, every single thing. And I became so obsessed with it that I became their consultant. I said, I want to teach this to the world. It's so important. And that's where I started, like really being clear on what I love. And once you be clear, you will see the way starts unfolding. Things will start happening. And you'll be shocked. Every single day for me, I'm in awe that, oh my God, I'm getting closer and closer and closer to my dreams. And once you achieve your one dream, you're like, oh, I want to do next. Because we're always expanding, we're always expressing ourselves. So we are like a rose who wants to just express its beauty, express its smell, its light, right? And once we start suppressing ourselves, that's when the wrong things happen. That's when we have all these problems. So really asking yourself, pausing, reflecting, and asking yourself, what would I love? And then who do I need to be to get it? Because it's already there. You just have to be that version who can do it effortlessly.
I will agree. And it's a shame that there's so many people who will suppress what they love, who they love, and how they want to be loved for a number of reasons. And I look around myself. I look around at my friends, my family, and I look around at what's going on in the world. And love seems to be not as abundant across the world as maybe it should be. And I think love can solve so many of our issues that we go through. Now, I don't mean in love where you just want to be married to everybody, right? But love for your fellow man and or woman. You want to make sure that, hey, are you okay today? Did you eat today? Did you have something to drink? How's the family? How are you? Right? Just that common courtesy back and forth can go a long way. And if there's anything that can leave to that next generation, that's something that I would leave to them, a similar
Yeah.
along your message, right? And when you mention suppression, do you see us or the people that you deal with, do you see them suppressing other types of emotions that's maybe hindering them in their life today?
Okay. So I feel a lot of times that we think that if we'll do this, other people will laugh at us. If we like, I always love using a lot of, like I would say flowery words, which are powerful, which makes you very excited. And I felt that if I do that, then people will say, oh, what is she talking about? She doesn't know what she's talking about. But When I really allowed myself, I heard people saying, wow, we love this. We love your energy. We love how you talk. And I thought, oh my goodness, all this time I was judging my own self. And I was thinking other people are going to say that. So, what parts of your life you are suppressing today? What are your gifts which you're trying to hide because you think other people won't like it? And let me tell you from experience, it's just we are judging ourselves. Nobody judges us. In fact, the world needs what we have got. But we judge ourselves so much that we just hide it. We try to settle. We try to like be like everybody else. We try to follow the masses or do what everybody else is doing. Why? We are not supposed to do what everybody else is doing. Even when like I'm writing my post or I'm expressing myself, I never look at the trends. I never look at like what is going on, what other people are doing. Because if I'm doing what other people are doing, then why am I doing it? Because other people are doing it anyway, right? So we are all an artist. We are all an artist of our lives, right? What are we creating from what matters to us? What is our craft? And once we stop judging and we really express our craft, no matter what it is, I think that's when we allow ourselves to step into our true power.